Hello, hello, my friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today? My friends, what a pleasure to be here this beautiful Tuesday. This beautiful Tuesday, can you believe it? May is almost over. Whoa. The month of May is almost over. I can't believe it, man. Wow. My friends, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jesus DJ Perez. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for always showing your encouragement, for always uh, praying for us, for always being there to receive and be open to give as well, right? Thank you so much, Elisa, for joining us. Thank you so much, my beautiful Elisa. It is always so good to see you here, and thank you everybody else for joining us live this beautiful day. My friends, we want to go straight into the message as soon as possible, right away, get into the nitty gritty of things, right? Get things moving, get things rolling right here for you, my friends. It's been quite a journey for the last several days, and with that being said, we get to experience things in life, and that we might not even think about it. We may get to be caught in situations where our peace, our state of being may be compromised, maybe challenged, maybe discouraged, and even sometimes diminish. But even though that things like that are happening all over the world, because let's just face it, sometimes those situations happen within our own household. Those situations may happen at work or with our own family members, right? And I just want to remind you that we all have a choice. We all have a choice. It's called free will. A free will, free to choose whether you want to involve yourself into any given difficult situation or if you want to avoid that situation. And what exactly am I talking about here? You may be saying, well, okay, but what are you exactly talking about right here, DJ? Well, when we get distracted by negativity, by other people's agendas, by other people's toxicity, uh, those are energy draining dynamics, draining situations that may very well be blocking the blessing that we are meant to be receiving. It could also be a very well the one same reason why the ministry is not growing, why the work we're doing is not growing, why the breakthrough we are waiting for is not arriving. And we have plowed the field, we have prayed, we have devoted ourselves, but yet something still doesn't seem to align. Something still is kind of like attacking us. And I just want to remind you that the battle is not yours to fight. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence, stillness, and surrender. You know? So let's take a look at what the Word of God is telling us today in the book of Exodus, chapter 14:14. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Ooh, wow. So as I was saying, today's message is about knowing when to remove yourself from those equations. It's not to avoid the situation, it's not to avoid the issue, but it's out of obedience that you need to take a step back and allow God to be the one that makes way where there is no way. Let's take a look at what the Word of God is telling us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15. And this is what the Word of God is telling us. In returning and rest you shall be safe. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. See, a while back I shared a video with you guys called Pick Your Battles, and the video will be, the link to that video is added to the comment section below, as well as into the video cards that are popping up right here on YouTube as well. That video, my friends, where I'm talking about pick your battles, learning how to pick your battles, goes side by side with this video of remove yourself from the equation. You know what they say, top of mind, tip of the tongue. So if you consistently are looking at the situation, if you consistently are looking at the issues, if you are right there looking at the situation, one way or another, you're going to get involved. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get dragged in. They're going to drag you right in. They're going to say, hey, you know what? And it's not because they want to be rude, mean, or offensive or anything along the lines. It's just sometimes you're right there and that's all they have. That's all they have. So they're going to use you as a punching bag. They're going to use you as a mop to mop the floor with you. That's a, you know, it's a literal. It's not a literal speech, you know, but it's a metaphor. It's an example. It's, you know what I mean. It's a way for you to see that sometimes those who are around us that are causing so much negativity, so much toxicity, so much energy draining, aren't serving you any purpose. Perhaps are delaying, like I said, the blessings to arrive. Because those situations perhaps are stealing your peace, bringing your state at a state of anger, upset, discouragement, disappointment, and you can add whatever else you want to the list, right? What would you say to the list, my friends? Drop it in the comments below, right here in the chat, in the live chat, right? What would you say? What would you add to that list? But for me, you know, there are so many different other things that I can add when somebody is just influencing your energy in the negative way. So many behaviors start showing up. How is the saying goes? Tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are, or you are a reflection of the 5 people you hang out with. Something like that. Have you ever heard of that before? Well, it is true. We become a reflection of who we're hanging out the most with. So we're hanging out with toxic people, with limited-minded people. If we're hanging out with those who only thing they have in coming out of their mouth is whining and complaining, envy, jealousy, then my friends, it's time for you to revisit what is it that you're doing right there. It's time to really for you to reassess and to pray to God and say, God, what's going on here? Help me deal with this. Help me cope with this. Pray for that person. Pray for those around you who are bringing toxicity into your life or into your workplace. Give it to God. That's what I'm saying. Give it back to God and say, God, this is out of my control, but I do not want to participate on that. I want to be removed from that toxic environment that is not bringing anything good for my life. And based on that, you give it back to God and you say, God, I'll leave it up to you. And just like we read on the book of Exodus, my friends, the Lord will fight for you and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14 is reminding us that the Lord will fight for us. And as well in the book of, where do we go? The book of Isaiah, the Lord is telling us, in returning and rest you shall save, and in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15. My friends, there's so much more that we can learn from those situations. There's so much more that we can learn as well from these beautiful Bible verses that God is sharing with us today. But the bottom line, it comes down to really just trusting Him. It comes down to, again, knowing when to remove yourself from the equation, knowing when to avoid, not to avoid it, but out of obedience, not because you want to avoid it, but because you want to be obedient, because you know that those environments are not good for you. So out of obedience, when those moments, when those conversations, with those distractions, when those energy draining dynamics threaten your clarity and pull you off course, that's when we have to take a step back. That's when we have to get still and release what is not ours to carry. What is not ours to carry. Something shifts at that point. You know what I mean? Something shifts when you take a bold state in your life. We declutter our minds, we reconnect with God's voice, we start walking in deeper synchronization, sync with the purpose that God has assigned to us. We start the path starts unveiling so we can see forward to what's ahead. We're no longer overly saturated with all that energy draining, with all that toxicity. So let me just remind you this once again. I'm not going to conclude with this, my friends. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every battle is yours to fight. So learn to pick your battles and give it to God, releasing attachment to the outcome. Releasing attachment to the outcome. Give it back to God. Leave it on His hands and pray about it, continue praying about it, but leave it on the hands of God, my friends. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us once again, my friends. It's such a pleasure. But before we go, yes, we do have a way for you to support this ministry. There is a way for you to support this ministry and sow into what we're doing right here today. There is a link, a QR code that either you can scan if you are watching this on your computer. You can scan it and it'll take you straight to buymeacoffee.com, where we have our ministry's account for love offerings. Or if you're watching this on your mobile, the link to support this ministry, to sow into the ministry, is also provided and available under the description of this video, my friends. Thank you again so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege to be here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Stay empowered, stay beautiful, stay blessed.